Hi, I'm Beth Castiello, principal from school number 3.
I'm Joanna Kletter, principal of school number 4.
And we have the pleasure of introducing one book, one summer, one Oceanside as a part of OSD Go Read. Our book this summer is A Monster Calls.
We had the opportunity to read chapters 1 and 2 and select some words that will help create a vision for you of a monster calls. Monster calling his name.
Connor.
12:07 a.m.
Father.
Nightmare.
The monster roared.
Darkness.
Screaming.
Yew tree.
Breakfast.
Covered floor.
Mum?
Bear scalp.
Don't be stupid, he told himself.
You're too old for monsters.
Are you ever too old?
For monsters.
So when I was younger, I used to think that there was a monster underneath my bed. And my mom would come in and we would do the hunt for monsters in the room. And I would always be afraid to look underneath my bed because I thought there was one underneath there. But together, my mom and I would conquer that. And then we finally found out that there were no monsters under there.
My mom had a great strategy. Whenever I complained about anything, she just responded, me too. So if I said, Mommy, I see a monster, she's like, me too, Joanna. I'm like, good. Okay, Mommy, I can't sleep. Me either, Joanna. And eventually I'd fall asleep. It was our little routine and it seemed to work. And I got over my fear of monsters.
Excellent.
The chapters at the beginning really do set the stage for the rest of the story. As you begin to develop a vision, a whole setting really grows around you as you start to read, and you do become part of the story. The author and illustrator do a beautiful job of making you feel as if you're there, you're feeling the feelings the character is feeling, and that these things that normally shouldn't come to life and speak to us or move can.
Absolutely. I think in the first chapter, A Monster Calls, you don't know yet if he's actually dreaming or if it's really happening. And I think that that's excellent. It's not until the second chapter in Breakfast and he's sweeping up the pine leaves from the yew tree on his floor that you're starting to think, wow, this is actually really happening to him. And then it starts to paint the picture also that obviously something is going on within his family. His mom is obviously sick. They allude to it. They don't actually say what's going on with mom. But you realize that he's very independent, taking care of himself, feeling as if he is the caretaker of the household, and that he's, working to help his mother so very much. Because I don't know what child is making their own breakfast, cleaning up after themselves without disturbing mommy in the morning. I
personally was intrigued by the title, A Monster Calls, because when I think calls, I think, well, what do they mean by calls? Is he calling on the phone? Is he calling as in paying a visit? Is it just a call of someone's name? So I do think the title is well selected. I wouldn't change it at all. And just the image again on the cover of, now you can see that monster, and well, is a monster calls, doesn't mean they're coming for a visit.
Absolutely, I agree. I think that the title was perfectly chosen, and it's also the title of the first chapter of the book. So it just draws you in. It makes you realize that there is a monster, and he's calling Connor. And you just want to know why. Why is this monster here? And what it does is it makes you want to read more and find out what exactly is this monster calling for. Why is the monster here? Why is, Connor experiencing this? And you just want answers to all those questions. So I think A Monster Calls actually sets the stage for wanting more and for really feeling that urge to read further in the book. I'm going to say keep reading. This is an amazing book. It's so well written. I find it very interesting that the author, Patrick Ness, is actually finishing a book for someone. And I found that to be very interesting. So I encourage you to keep reading. Get some tissues. It is sad. I'm not going to tell you it's not sad, but it's so well written. And a book that can make you cry and touch you emotionally is a good book. And this is a good book.
And I'd encourage you to keep reading, because how often do you have the opportunity to share an experience with your entire community? That's what reading a community book is. You're not just sharing this book with maybe your spouse or your child. You have a community surrounding you, reading the same book, experiencing the same feelings you're feeling. And who knows what ideas it will lead to.
Excellent.